Crescitelli, here you conducting the program. Give it up for my buddy, Lindy.
I have the honor of introducing a personal hero, someone that I met for the first time 5 years ago now. Someone that I had watched through TV accounts.
Well, I thought that I should get an education in my own state. And of course, Ole Miss, to my knowledge, is the best university in the state.
Well, you say you were interested in going to the University of Mississippi even as a boy. Were you aware at that time that Negroes did not go to the University of Mississippi?
Well, I've been aware for a long time of the so-called place for the Negro. Yes, I've been aware.
Therefore, you've wanted to overcome this barrier since you were a boy.
That's right.
So one of the things that always impressed me about Mr. Meredith was his determination. No one was going to tell him he couldn't go to that university.
Mrs. Hagan Thompson at the State Office Building in Jackson. James Meredith has just arrived in the custody of federal officials and apparently making his way up to the 10th floor to register. And in they go, and we'll switch now in just a moment. The crowd is booing lustily inside the Woolfolk building. Have a crowd of several thousand inside and out.
This is a living history that you can use, that I've used in my own life. That's what we want you to take back. When you're listening to Mr. Meredith, a great historical figure here today, think of the inspiration for you and bring back to New York and to your communities. Whether it be something for your college that you want, something you're being told is closed to you.
I'm a Mississippi segregationist, and I am proud of it.
I have said in every county in Mississippi that no school in our state will be integrated when I am your governor. I now call on every public official and every private citizen of our great state to join with me in refusing to submit to illegal usurpation of power by the Kennedy administration.
Would you be willing to wait a while and let the people cool off on the whole thing? Till how long? You make a statement to the effect, Mr. President, that under the circumstances existing in Mississippi, that there will be bloodshed. You want to protect the life of James Meredith and all other people. And under the circumstances at this time, it just wouldn't be fair to him or others to try to register him.
Well, then, at what time would it be fair? Well, would you undertake to register him in 2 weeks?
Well, now, you know, I can't undertake to register myself, but you all might make some progress that way.
Yeah, well, we'd be facing it. Unless we get your support, the assurance would be...
I'm going to cooperate.
No mob, however unruly or boisterous, is entitled to defy a court of law. The eyes of the nation and all the world are upon you and upon all of us.
When all the attention was placed upon him, he didn't let the press or the politicians or administrators make the issue theirs or anything that it wasn't about for him. One of my favorite clips of Mr. Meredith was a reporter asking him in the aftermath, how do you feel about people who were injured and died to get you there? And Mr. Meredith took a beat. Clearly, to me, it looked like he was thinking about his response and turned to the reporter and said, now you know that's not a fair question to ask me. I have respect for that. As Mr. Devlin said, I learned from that.
There's been a great deal of turmoil and conflict. 2 people have been killed. Do you have any feelings of guilt? Have you given that any second thoughts?
I'm very sorry that anyone had to get hurt or killed. But of course, I think that's an unfair question to me. I don't believe any of you believe that I had anything to do with that.
How are you getting along in school, sir?
Just fine, just fine.
How are the students have it been talking to? Has there been any reaction?
No, just acting like students, I suppose.
Is this a kind of a lonely life for you, despite all these people around you?
I've been living a lonely life a long time.
Segregation would have kept me from learning from this intelligent leader. and would have kept us from learning from each other. He was going to do this no matter what. And a lot of the other things, people chose who was going to be the next person to integrate. And Mr. Meredith was always the one who was, I'm going to do what I want to do, and if the rest of the leaders and everything want to support me and get on board, that's great. That's determination. That's why he's a personal hero of mine. And without further ado, I give you James Meredith.
Thank you, Mr. Something unusual happened today. Two of the young ladies got me over to that table to ask me questions. And that had never happened before. Every group that I've seen that's come down here was smart. But I got a suspicion that this may be the smartest of all of the group. As soon as I graduated from high school, I joined the military. And every assignment I had in the military, although I was only a low ranker, I dominated every group I was in. And I didn't know until recently how important that was. The truth of the matter is, I did what I did because I thought that was my role. You understand, it was such an insult to me to say that somebody in Mississippi could go to a school I couldn't go to, until in my mind, everybody else was worried about dying. But to my thinking, I was already dead, along with every other black in Mississippi, because they couldn't do what citizens could do. So as far as I'm concerned, they were dead. Talking about killing me was nothing. I mean, because as far as I was concerned, I was already dead. The truth of the matter is, I did what I did because I felt like it was supposed to be. And why am I saying all of this? Because I'm an old man. And there are problems today that every single one of you in here have seen, and somebody got to correct them if they're ever to be corrected. So what I'm really saying is that I think that this program that you're all involved in is one of the most important programs in America today, because it's giving you an opportunity to start thinking about what your job is. You see, when I was 18 years old, I was in the Air Force, and I came home the first time to visit my mother. And when I got to the Mississippi River, and the Greyhound bus driver crossed the Mississippi River, he stopped the bus and pulled a black curtain and made all of the blacks get behind a black curtain. Now, you know, the law required him to have blacks sit in the back. But he pulled the black curtain to further humiliate. Now, it was at least 9 or 10 years before I did anything about that. But every year, almost every day of my life, I was thinking about how I'm going to correct these things.
You've lived, you've created history. I understand what you're doing here because it's wonderful that we get to come here and meet you and see all these sites and visit those places.
Thank you, James.